The film begins with Romy, a successful CEO at Tensile Tech. From the outside, her life appears perfect. She has a loving husband, Jacob, a theater director, and 2 daughters. Yet, Romy experiences a sense of dissatisfaction, feeling a crucial element is missing in her intimate life with Jacob. One day, Romy is preparing for a company presentation on warehouse automation. Then she enjoys a pleasant breakfast with her family. After checking in on her daughter, Nora, she turns her attention to Isabel, who requests permission for her girlfriend, Mary, to have a sleepover. However, Romy firmly denies the request. Romy then heads out for her office, where she encounters an unleashed dog terrorizing the people. However, Samuel easily calms the dog, leaving Romy surprised. Romy hurriedly enters her office, where she gives her presentation about the benefits of automation in the warehouses, emphasizing the reduction of human labor. Esme, her assistant, informs her that interns are waiting for her, so Romy instructs her to bring them in. Romy casually asks the interns if they have any questions. Samuel, boldly, questions Romy about the legitimacy of her statements on sustainability, suggesting that she may be using the term merely for image enhancement. The interns are shocked by this question, and Esme gently steers all of them outside, suggesting they explore other areas of the office. Esme then invites all the interns to a company party on Friday. As Romy is on a phone call, she asks Samuel to make her a coffee. After ending the call, she curiously inquires about how he calmed the dog. He simply replies that he had a cookie and that he carries them with him everywhere. Samuel also advises her not to drink too much coffee. Romy then receives another call and leaves without saying anything. At night, Romy asks Jacob to try suffocating her in bed. However, Jacob doesn't seem comfortable with the act, leaving Romy frustrated. It is finally Friday, and Romy, along with her family, attends the party, as do the interns. Outside, while Romy is getting some fresh air, Samuel approaches her and asks for a lighter. She hands it to him. He then informs her that he has chosen her as his mentor, leaving Romy confused as she did not sign up for the program to be an intern's mentor. Back at the party, Romy's eyes inadvertently find Samuel dancing sensually. The next day, as the staffs are cleaning up the mess from yesterday's party, Romy spots Samuel's tie and decides to keep it. Inside her office room, she gags herself with the tie. Thus begins Romy's attraction to Samuel. Romy, yearning to feel young and beautiful, decides to undergo a cosmetic procedure at a hospital. However, her daughter, Isabel, makes fun of her appearance afterward. Romy goes to her office and encounters Samuel in the elevator. He notices the subtle changes in her face and tells her that she is beautiful as she is and that she doesn't need to alter anything. Embarrassed, Romy quickly exits the elevator. Her assistant, Esme, asks Romy if she has considered giving her a promotion. Romy simply responds that she has thought about it and leaves it at that. The next morning, Romy interviews Samuel. However, he makes her a bit uncomfortable with his dominant behavior. He asks her about why she chose to start her own company, but Romy instructs him to look that up on the internet. Samuel counters that you can't trust everything on the internet. A little annoyed, Romy proceeds to tell Samuel about how she graduated from Yale, and right after she was interviewed for a job where they asked some grueling questions like how many ping pong balls would fit in a room. Samuel pipes in and says if she had answered the question, but she ignores him and continues her story. She explains that they then gave her a case study about a company in deep trouble that she couldn't find the solution for. So, she boldly told them to F themselves. And then, to her surprise, they hired her. After gaining enough knowledge from her previous work, then 5 years later, she opened her own company. After the interview, Samuel replies, around 1,800,000 ping pong balls would take to fill the room. Romy kisses Samuel in a moment of weakness. However, she quickly apologizes, stating that she shouldn't have done it, and ever since that, Romy ignored him. But he kept calling her in the middle of the nights. One day, as she gets a call from him, determined to put an end to this, she spots her daughter Isabel with some other girl. The next day, Romy confronts Isabel about the mysterious girl. However, Isabel tells her that she loves Mary, but what she is doing is just for fun. Samuel notices Romy and then asks her why she didn't agree to a second meeting. Romy lies and says that she was busy and will consider meeting him if she is free. Romy goes to the theater to spend time with her husband. Jacob is surprised since it had been a long time since Romy visited him. That night, Romy goes out with her co-workers for some drinks, and she spots Samuel. And as the conversation kept flowing among the girls, Romy's eyes kept going back to Samuel. Then a waiter places a glass of milk on her table which Samuel ordered. She drinks it and meets his eye. After some time, as Romy is paying for her drinks, Samuel simply says to her, "Good girl." The next day, she goes to a hotel room to meet Samuel and asks him to stop calling her and leaving letters for her. But Samuel turns the tables, saying that he doesn't know what she is trying to do by coming to his apartment when he asked her to. He then simply issues a command to her, "Kneel." Thinking he is clearly out of his mind, Romy prepares to leave. But curious, she tries to kneel, then she couldn't believe she is ready to do what he says. So she leaves, then comes back once again and starts kissing him. However, Samuel leads her to the wall. Then he commands her to sit on all fours. As he gives her pleasure, she couldn't believe she had gone through with it and cries over her actions. Samuel comforts her. After the initial shock wears off, they keep seeing each other whenever they can. Romy carefully juggles between keeping her family and her affair separate. However, unbeknownst to Romy, it is all about to shatter. One day after work, Romy comes home to find Samuel with her family having a meal. Romy enters the room, and Samuel promptly replies that she left her laptop at the office, so he brought it to her. The girls ask if he works at their mother's company, but he says he is just an intern and that he has a part-time job at some bar. Romy, having enough of his antics, asks Samuel that they should stop seeing each other. However, Samuel gets irritated and tells her that he is not looking for a girlfriend or anything serious. But Romy is firm, so he slams the car door and leaves. And so Samuel starts ignoring her. She chases after him and asks him if he is okay. However, he tells her that he would like to shift to another department since he didn't like working with her. Romy, alarmed, says that he can't, because if he did, they will investigate about why he would want to transfer. But he simply says that it wasn't his problem. Romy, deeply heartbroken and angry, lashes out at Jacob when he tries to touch her. She yells at him, indirectly blaming him for her infidelity by claiming he couldn't satisfy her. The next morning, Romy apologizes to Jacob, but Jacob feels a nagging sense of dishonesty and he leaves the house feeling unsettled. Romy expresses that Samuel is young and that she doesn't want to take advantage of him. However, Samuel tells her that it is consensual since both parties agree to it. He then proposes that they should have a ground rule. She should do what he wants. He commands her to sit on the edge of the table and makes her agree to the condition that she should do whatever he wants, and by telling her if she doesn't, he will go and tell her superior. She meets him and does things she only ever dreamt of doing, her fantasies coming to life. When Romy gets naked, Samuel tells her she is beautiful, but she doesn't believe it. And so they share an intimate moment with each other. Samuel asks Romy to set a safe word, which Romy quickly says is Jacob. After their passionate night, Romy feels satisfied. The next day, it is Isabel's birthday, and she notices Samuel with Esme, her assistant. She finds out that Samuel and Esme are together, but Romy resolutely says that he should only be with her. He points out her being with her husband, and their moment shatters when Esme arrives. The next day, Romy advises Esme not to start dating an intern, since she is in a position of power, and considering her promotion could be jeopardized if she dates him. Samuel asks her to meet inside an underground club, where Romy feels as if she has become a teenager once again. When she enters her home, Romy spots her daughter crying since Mary found out about her cheating. Romy comforts her. The next day, Esme arrives at Romy's home. She tells Romy that she knew about her affair with Samuel and asks her not to go through with it. She also says that she didn't want a promotion to keep her silent since she wants women to be in positions of power, and then she leaves. Later, Romy finally comes clean to her husband about her affair. However, she avoids mentioning Samuel's name, instead vaguely describing him as a random stranger. She confesses that, unlike other women, she has always harbored dark fantasies since childhood. Jacob, understandably furious, asks her to leave the house. That night, she spots Samuel casually swimming in her pool. She scolds him for coming to her home unannounced once again. Jacob spots both of them together and realizes that Samuel is the random stranger she mentioned. A heated fight ensues between Jacob and Samuel. After the fight, Romy hands both men some wipes. Jacob tells Samuel that he believes he was taken advantage of, but Samuel firmly states that their encounters were consensual. Jacob gets a panic attack, and Samuel helps him to calm down. Samuel apologizes for coming between their family and leaves once and for all. After a few weeks, Isabel visits her mom. She informs her that Mary finally forgave her and asks her to come home since Jacob doesn't eat or leave the theater. Romy apologizes to her husband, and they patch things up. Esme is promoted to junior recruiter. At the office, a higher-up blackmails Romy. He tells her that he knows about her affair with the intern who is currently in Japan, and that in order to buy his silence, she should sleep with him. She simply tells him, and with that, the story ends.